2 years ago, my husband said, we are moving to BC. And I got excited because I thought, warmer weather, yes, that's good. And I look online and I saw where they say the zone is between 5B and 7B. So I was so excited. I'm like, yes, 5B. That means I get more months than Saskatchewan. But I think we're about 3B. 3B, possibly 5B. But anyway, first year I came, we were thinking, okay, we're gonna be here for about a year, and then we might buy a piece of property after a year or two and seeing whether or not we like the place. So because we didn't know how long we're gonna be here, I built my garden, and I didn't really build any permanent structure. The next issue that we face though is that it is a very rainy environment, and so I don't know if you can see that, right? This is winter and the ground is partially frozen, but as you can see, it is still muddy in winter. So you can imagine what it is like during the rest of the year. Why am I telling you this? Because when I built my beds, because there's a lot of slugs here, and because of how soggy the ground is, I figured I would raise the beds, so build them on legs so that they wouldn't be sitting directly in the pile of mud. But unfortunately, between the soggy soil and the strong winds that we get here, the legs broke. As you can see with this bed here, the legs broke and so did the bed. So this one broke as well, and the strong winds. We had a storm that blew the cover off. This was one of my corn beds. So now I decided that I was going to build the beds directly on the ground. So over the fall, I built these 1, 2, 3, 4, and my little garlic bed over there. Eventually, I'm going to be getting rid of those beds down there because they are too close to where the water run off, because the water from that property over there and the property that's over there runs along here, and as it comes down that way, it runs down to the ocean. So I'm going to be getting rid of those beds that are closer to where the water is, and I'm going to be moving them up further. And in this bed here, the beds that I built first this fall, I bought these material online. Looking at them, I thought it was more rubber and not plastic, but unfortunately it is plastic. So I'm going to get rid of the plastic, rip it out, and just let the wood go, just the plain wood. I've lined the bed with copper, 5-inch copper wire to help control slugs. If you use wires that are copper mesh that is narrower than 5 inches, then what is going to happen is the snails are going to make their way over it. Those little creatures will stay here and stretch their bodies as far as they can get it over the copper. So if you don't use 5 inches, they're gonna make their way over the copper that you put on. So 5 inches or thicker or wider works best. Now you might be wondering, why is there wood in the beds? As I mentioned before, it's a very rainy environment, and so the risk of soil erosion is very high. So putting in the wood here, even though it is going to wick nitrogen from the bed in order to break down the wood, this is still one of the best option now. So putting the wood in and then put in dry blade grass on top, then the soil and the compost on top of that will help to retain the soil. So that is the purpose of having the wood in there. So I will be making up for the depleted nitrogen by adding more natural sources like grass clippings and compost and coffee grounds and all the nitrogen sources to make up for the loss. So my goal is sustainable gardening. So as we go along, I will be changing up my method of gardening because I'm constantly looking for ways to improve my garden and make it more sustainable. If you are interested in learning these techniques and how you can grow an eco-friendly garden, then please check out our community. I'm going to be leaving a link in the description and you are welcome to join us. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have yourself a wonderful day. Yeah, man, a time for grow.